She walked into the police station covered in blood. Hair matted, eyes wild, and clutching a kitchen knife. Officers froze. She whispered just 7 chilling words. "I didn't kill him, he killed me." What happened next shook the entire town to its core. Chapter 1. The Blood-Stained Arrival. Monday, 3:47 a.m. Greensboro, North Carolina. Officer Raymond Dale had seen drunk drivers, domestic disputes, and the occasional meth-laced meltdown, but nothing like this. The automatic doors slid open at the Greensboro precinct, and in walked a barefoot woman, soaked in blood from the neck down. She didn't run. She didn't scream. She just stood there. "Ma'am, are you injured?" Officer Dale asked, hand on his holster. The woman, later identified as Emily Vargas, 28, held up both hands, revealing a butcher knife slick with red. She placed it carefully on the front desk and whispered, "It's not my blood. Please don't shoot." Then she collapsed. Chapter 2. A haunted town and a name from nowhere. Paramedics rushed Emily to the emergency room, where they found no wounds, just deep scratches on her arms, and signs of recent trauma. When she regained consciousness, she repeated one name: Jonah Holbrook. He wouldn't die. There was no record of Jonah Holbrook in Greensboro's database. But things got weirder when Detective Merrill Ford reviewed Emily's ID. She was listed as living in Chapel Hill, but had been declared legally dead 2 years ago. Chapter 3. The Cabin in the Woods. Following her vague directions, police discovered a remote cabin 35 miles from the city. Inside was a crime scene straight from a horror film. Blood smeared across the walls. Chunks of hair embedded in floorboards. A body, face down, wrapped in barbed wire, but with no ID. It was clear someone had fought for their life. But was Emily the attacker or the prey? Then came the first twist. A dusty Polaroid taped to the mirror, with one line scrawled beneath it. "You were supposed to stay dead." Chapter 4. Who is Emily Vargas? Investigators dug deep into Emily's past. She was a journalism major at UNC, passionate about missing persons cases. In 2021, she disappeared while investigating the unsolved murders of 3 women. Cases dismissed as domestic violence gone wrong. Her fiancé had reported her missing. The trail ran cold. She was presumed dead. But now she was here. Alive. Bleeding. And clearly traumatized. Did she fake her death to go undercover? Or had she been held captive this entire time? Chapter 5. The Basement Door. Back at the cabin, a hidden trapdoor was discovered beneath the floorboards. Officers descended into a concrete bunker where they found a mattress soaked with dried blood, dozens of women's IDs, chains bolted to the wall, a file cabinet with labeled folders. Each folder contained photos, receipts, clippings, and surveillance images of missing women from multiple states. In the last folder, a photo of Emily, bruised and restrained, time-stamped just 3 weeks ago. Chapter 6. The face that haunted her. When Emily was interviewed again, she kept repeating, "He wasn't a man anymore. He wore my dead friends like costumes." She spoke of being chained in the basement, forced to watch old crime shows while her captor mimicked the voices of the women he had killed. "He became them," she said. "Each night, he'd talk like one, walk like one. It was like living with ghosts in his skin." Chapter 7. When she escaped. According to Emily, her captor, whom she insisted was Jonah Holbrook, had become obsessed with her, calling her his final project. One night, during his psychotic breakdown, she managed to grab a piece of broken mirror and cut her restraints. "I didn't plan to kill him," she sobbed. "But when I saw the knife on the table, something in me snapped." She stabbed him. Again and again. Even as he laughed. He said, "Now you're just like me." Chapter 8. A body with no face. Forensics revealed something bizarre. The man's body in the cabin? He had undergone facial reconstruction surgery. His fingerprints had been scorched off. The body had no official identity. Yet inside his stomach, medical examiners found a locket swallowed whole, with Emily's initials etched on the back. DNA samples from the crime scene matched hair and tissue from 3 other missing women, including 2 presumed drowned, and 1 labeled a suicide. Whoever this man was, he had been mimicking their deaths, and framing others. Chapter 9. Viral madness. As the story hit the news, woman declared dead returns covered in blood, Emily became an overnight sensation. TikTok conspiracies exploded. Some called her a serial killer playing victim. Others claimed she was an undercover FBI agent. One viral thread: what if she's the copycat and he was the real Emily? Detective Ford wasn't sure what to believe. But then a voicemail surfaced, dated 2 days before Emily's reappearance. A man's voice. She found the others. She knows what I did. If I die, she did it. Chapter 10. The unraveling. The last piece of evidence was a burned notebook found in the cabin's fireplace. Only 2 pages were intact. One read: Emily won't leave. She's too broken to remember she's not one of them. The other: when the truth comes out, they'll call her a hero. Or a monster. Either way, she'll be famous. Chapter 11. The missing hour. Hospital surveillance revealed something bone-chilling. Emily had disappeared from her room for 57 minutes before entering the police station. Where was she during that hour? What was she doing? Blood tests later showed traces of sedatives in her system, but no wounds. And she had a set of keys that didn't belong to her. One matched the basement lock. The other? A post office box 80 miles away. Inside it, dozens of SD cards. Chapter 12. The final card. On the last recovered SD card, authorities found a single video clip. It showed Emily in the cabin, smiling, covered in blood. She faced the camera and said, "Now you see what he made me become. Now you'll all finally listen. And now, it's your turn to watch." End of Part 1. Part 2. The cards, the coffin, and the other Emily. We thought the nightmare ended when she walked in. But that was just her opening act. Chapter 13. The SD files. Each SD card in the post office box contained horrifying clips. They were filmed from a hidden camera, likely embedded in the basement wall of the cabin. The footage spanned 3 years. Dozens of women appeared. Some bound. Some pleading. Some just staring blankly, broken. In one clip, a man's voice whispers, "She's next. She reminds me of Emily." But then came a recording that changed everything. Emily, wearing the same blood-soaked clothes from the night she returned, stares directly into the lens. Jonah was a monster. But I didn't just survive him. I studied him. I copied him. I became his ghost. Chapter 14. The double. One SD card showed what looked like Emily, but the timestamps revealed something impossible. The video was dated just 2 weeks after she was declared legally dead. Yet her hair was different. Her mannerisms were off. Facial recognition confirmed it wasn't Emily Vargas. It was Isla Moreau, another woman declared missing in 2020, whose case had gone cold. She had changed her face to look like Emily. But why? Investigators now had a terrifying theory. There were 2 Emilys. One might have been the real victim. The other, a willing protege. Chapter 15. Detective Ford's breakdown. Detective Merrill Ford hadn't slept in 43 hours. The deeper she dug, the more disturbing the evidence became. Multiple passports under Emily's name. A safe house in Michigan rented under an alias matching the second Emily. Psych files from 2019 labeling Emily as borderline dissociative with survivor guilt delusions. But then, Ford received an anonymous email. Subject: she wasn't the first. Attachment: a zip folder titled Project Mirror. Inside, photos, medical scans, and therapy notes on identity erasure and induced mirroring. Emily, or whoever she was, had been part of a criminal psychology experiment. And Jonah Holbrook? He may not have been a lone killer, but a test subject, or handler. Chapter 16. The coffin in the storage unit. One of the SD card keys matched a storage unit just outside Raleigh. Inside, a wooden coffin, nailed shut. When officers pried it open, they expected a body. What they found instead was worse. A mirror fixed inside the lid. A dress soaked in dried blood. A camcorder playing a loop. "Repeat it," the voice on tape said. "You are not Emily. You are her reflection," Ford whispered. "She's been brainwashed. Or she volunteered." Chapter 17. The police station footage. New surveillance footage was uncovered from the morning Emily walked in. Rewinding the tape, an officer noticed something shocking. At 3:14 a.m., 33 minutes before Emily's arrival, a woman stood across the street, watching the station. Wearing a hoodie. Holding something small. Zoomed in, the resolution caught her lips moving. Lip readers confirmed she was mouthing. "She's inside now. It's done." Emily didn't walk herself to the station. She was dropped off. But by whom? Chapter 18. I had to finish his work. After days of silence, Emily asked to speak. Detective Ford recorded every word. "You never looked for us. You buried the women Jonah took, filed them as runaways or suicides. I wasn't his victim, not after the first week. I learned from him. I watched. I helped pick the ones who wouldn't be missed." She leaned in closer. "But Jonah got sloppy. Weak. So I finished the list." Ford asked. "What list?" Emily smiled. "The ones that let him hunt. The cops. The judges. The men who laughed when women went missing." Chapter 19. The blacklight room. The cabin was revisited under ultraviolet light. What had seemed like random blood smears turned into handwritten sentences across every wall. "She walks among you now. They won't believe you until it's too late. This is not a rescue. It's a resurrection. One killer died. Another was born." And one sentence, larger than the rest, behind the mirror. "She never left. She was always one of us." Chapter 20. The other tapes. Of the 26 SD cards, 4 were encrypted. The tech team finally cracked one. It was recent. From a camera hidden in what looked like a motel. In the video, Emily, or Isla, is meeting with someone else. A woman, mid-30s, black gloves, speaking in German accented English. Once the media covers you, we move to phase 2. You'll be a symbol. Victim and villain. People love that. The final line of the video. Welcome to the Mirror Project. Chapter 21. Back from the dead, again. Just as news anchors declared Emily in custody, a new twist dropped. 2 more women, missing for months, were found alive, wandering a gas station 90 miles away. Both were wearing hospital gowns. Both said the same thing. "She let us go. Said her work was done. She looked like Emily Vargas." But Emily was still in a secured facility. Right? Except when police checked her cell. It was empty. And on the mirror, written in lipstick. "You saved me. Now I'll save them." Part 3. The Mirror Project has no end. We thought she was running from evil. What we didn't realize was that she was its reflection. Chapter 22. The survivors can't agree. The 2 women found wandering the gas station, Naomi Fletcher and Aria Vaughn, were declared missing 7 months apart, each from a different state. Neither had known the other. But their stories conflicted in a disturbing way. Naomi claimed the woman who freed them wasn't Emily, but someone with her face and her voice, only colder, robotic. Aria, however, insisted the woman was kind and looked haunted, like she hated what she had become. Both women were dehydrated and mentally unstable. But they confirmed one thing: they were being studied, not just held. Cameras, journals, tests, experiments. One folder was labeled Subject 43, Empath Reversal Conditioning, and another, Reinvention Through Trauma. Chapter 23, A Secret Ward in Michigan. Following a rental car trail tied to Emily's last known alias, investigators found an abandoned children's hospital in rural Michigan. In the basement, 6 locked rooms, faint bloodstains, speakers built into the walls, mirrors on every door. On the whiteboard in room 3, Mirror Project, Phase 3, Social Trial Activation. Inside the staff locker, a photo of Emily as a child, but standing next to Isla Moreau. Both girls wore matching hospital gowns. Someone scribbled on the back. Only one walked out. Chapter 24. The Man Behind the Mirrors. The FBI released a confidential name now tied to the case. Dr. Elias Rohn, a discredited behavioral neurologist specializing in trauma-induced psychogenic fugue. His theory: if you can fracture someone enough, they'll split. And from that split, you can build whoever you want. Rohn vanished in 2018 after being linked to a European human experimentation scandal known as Project Shattenbild, or Shadow Image. His last known research site? Greensboro, North Carolina, 10 blocks from where Emily Vargas died. Chapter 25. The Dead That Were Never Dead. Investigators reopened the graves of 3 victims linked to Jonah Holbrook. Shockingly, 2 caskets were empty. The third contained a body burned beyond identification. Dental records didn't match any known victim. DNA confirmed it belonged to a woman not in any missing persons database. But tucked in her blouse was a note written in blood. You buried the wrong ones. We buried ourselves. Chapter 26. The video drop. At 3:03 a.m., a video appeared on dozens of Reddit, X, Twitter, and TikTok true crime forums simultaneously. Title: Mirror/Initiation/Emily. It showed grainy footage of Emily, alive, clear-eyed, sitting in what looked like a therapy chair. She speaks calmly. You all want to know if I'm real. If I'm a killer. If I'm a survivor. I'm none of those things. I'm what you made. She then lists the names of 12 missing women, many presumed dead. Names not previously linked to the case. Then she says, if you want them back, you'll have to see me. Alone. No cameras. Room 7. There is no justice here. Only reflection. The clip ends with coordinates. To a theater. In Missouri. Burned down in 2003. Chapter 27. The Cult Theory. Online forums exploded. Some believed Emily had started a cult of survivors, women who escaped their trauma and now operated in the shadows. Others believed Emily herself was a clone or construct, possibly created to test public response to trauma-based manipulation. A smaller, darker theory surfaced. What if Emily isn't the monster, but the bait? And there's something worse still coming. Then came the most chilling message yet. A package delivered to the FBI. Inside, a cracked mirror. On the glass, etched words. This is not a story. It's a rehearsal. Chapter 28. The Psychological Collapse. Detective Meryl Ford was hospitalized after a reported breakdown. Her final report before being placed on leave? Emily has no allegiance. Not to justice. Not to vengeance. She exists to dismantle belief systems. She doesn't want to be caught. She wants to be followed. In her hospital notes, Ford scribbled repeatedly, what if we're all part of the experiment? Chapter 29. 13 victims return. 3 weeks later, in an abandoned school in Ohio, 13 women were found. Naked, cold, silent, but alive. Each had a number carved into their wrist. None would speak. None could recall how they arrived. In their room, written in charcoal on the wall, 13 given, 13 taken, 13 to come. A single USB was taped to a mannequin's hand. On it, one video. Emily again, sitting cross-legged in a dark room, staring. Every victim becomes the villain in someone else's story. You filmed mine. Now I'm filming yours. Chapter 30. The door that won't close. A week after the return of the 13 women, the body of Detective Merrill Ford was found in her home. She had slit her wrists in front of a mirror, but the mirror had words painted across it in her own blood. She's not behind you. She's inside you. No fingerprints were found. No forced entry. But surveillance showed a woman in a hoodie entering Ford's apartment. The timestamp? 3:03 a.m. The same minute the viral video dropped. Part 4. The Mirror Project spreads. It started with a woman soaked in blood. Now it's spreading, infecting every system that tried to silence her. Chapter 31. The Global Footprint. Interpol contacted the FBI with urgent intel. Similar incidents had been reported in 3 other countries in the last 18 months. Germany, a woman with no ID entered a Berlin train station covered in blood. Said she escaped the reflection. Japan, a man claiming to be an Emily protector, leaped from a rooftop after carving a mirror into his chest. Brazil, a burned cabin found in the rainforest. Inside, 9 SD cards and a notebook filled with the phrase, "The world doesn't see what's behind the glass." Each scene had one thing in common. A handwritten symbol, the trigram for Earth in the I Ching, meaning stillness, control, and containment. Chapter 32. Room 7 is real. The Missouri theater Emily mentioned in her viral video? Turns out, there's a hidden room under the old projection booth. Room 7. Built as a bomb shelter during the Cold War. Investigators entered on July 7th, at 3:03 a.m. The power was still running. Inside, a chair facing a floor-length mirror, scratched walls, a playlist looping on a broken speaker. Titles like, Reflections of Victimhood, You Can't Save the Same Girl Twice. This was never about one woman. Then, on the chair, a flash drive. Its title, Emily_003. Chapter 33. The Deep Code. The flash drive led agents to a darknet server titled Mirror Sanctum, only accessible with 4 rotating passwords. Inside were classified documents, experimental trial logs, and an encrypted message signed, AR. Control is not the absence of chaos. It is the illusion of choice. The Mirror Project began as a tool. It became a truth. Emily was not born. She was built. The final line read, "One of them is running for office." Chapter 34. The Candidate. In Florida, U.S. Senate candidate Elena Rohn, daughter of missing neuroscientist Dr. Elias Rohn, was gaining traction as a champion for women's trauma recovery. But Reddit sleuths connected her to multiple addresses linked to Emily's movements. Photos surfaced. Elena and Emily at a recovery center. But Elena claimed she didn't remember her. Until an anonymous source leaked therapy videos from 2015. Elena interviewing women who looked eerily like Isla Moreau and Emily. One line from Elena stood out. "We don't fix trauma. We repurpose it." Chapter 35. The Archive Tower. In Chicago, a fire gutted a private archival building. Before the flames consumed it, a team recovered a locked briefcase. Inside, a scorched map with red dots on 48 cities. Polaroids of women staring at mirrors. A blueprint labeled, Neuroimprint Room, Mirror Tier 4. Each photo had numbers on the back. E.g. Emily, 013 Isla, 007 Naira, 006. The implication was horrific. There were dozens of Emilys, each part of a tiered experiment. Each version built for a purpose. Chapter 36. The prison footage. 3 weeks later, a bombshell leaked. At the federal detention center where Emily had been held before she vanished, security footage from the night of her disappearance was released. The footage showed 2 women walking side by side down the hallway. Both looked exactly like Emily. One turned to the camera and mouthed, "We're not mirrors. We're weapons." Then the screen glitched and cut out. The guards claimed they never saw a second woman. But the system recorded 2 door entries. Chapter 37. The Unlocking. The FBI finally decrypted one of the last SD cards. It wasn't a video. It was a software script called resonance.7.exe. The code was primitive, but ran a simulation. A visual AI showing a woman's face morphing every 7 seconds into different emotional states. Fear, anger, submission, smiling. Then the final slide. Emily 004. Release date: July 13, 2025. That date was 2 days away. Chapter 38. The escalation begins. On July 13th, 5 women across 5 different states appeared at hospitals, disoriented, bleeding, confused. Each gave the name Emily Vargas. Each had partial amnesia. Each wore the same necklace, a tiny mirror shard encased in glass. One nurse reported hearing one of them whisper, "I was chosen because I break easy." By the next day, 2 had vanished from secure medical facilities, leaving only a red smear on the mirror. Chapter 39. Detective Ford's final recording. A voice recording was uncovered in Meryl Ford's personal safe. It was time-stamped 7 minutes before her death. If you're hearing this, I've gone too far down the hole. But here's what you need to understand. They didn't make Emily to find justice. They made her to break the illusion of it. We created an avatar of vengeance. She just kept evolving. This won't stop until someone looks in the mirror and doesn't look away. Chapter 40. The Global Signal. At exactly 3:03 a.m., the following message appeared across screens in 9 countries. The Mirror Project is now live. Choose witness or reflection. Then a countdown. 72 hours. At the end of the message, a frame showing Emily smiling, calmly holding a cracked mirror, and one line of text. "You filmed me. Now I film you." Part 5. The countdown ends at 3:03. We thought she was a victim. Then we thought she was a killer. Now, we know the truth. She's a movement. Chapter 41. 1 second. The 72-hour countdown reached its final second. Millions of screens worldwide flickered. TVs, phones, laptops, all black. Then, for precisely 7 seconds, every device displayed one image. A woman standing in front of a mirror. But her reflection wasn't her own. It was you. Watching. Afterward, devices returned to normal. No trace of the message. No source. But within hours, chaos began. Chapter 42. The Mirror Events. Across 23 cities, at exactly 3:03 a.m., people began reporting reflections that didn't match. Voices whispering from mirrors. Memory lapses and blackouts. Some claimed to see themselves watching back. In Philadelphia, a woman shattered her bathroom mirror and screamed. She said I was the next one. In Buenos Aires, a subway ad malfunctioned and played Emily's original video confession on loop. Police departments were flooded with calls. But none could explain what was happening. Until the first death. Chapter 43. The Mirror Killings. July 16, 2025. 5 people were found dead in their homes. Each had a mirror near their body. Each had their own face carved into their chest, upside down. Next to the final victim, a handwritten note. "You made us watch. Now we're making you see." Investigators found no sign of forced entry. But on each bathroom mirror, scratched into the glass, Emily was just the beginning. Chapter 44. The Black File. A whistleblower leaked a sealed federal document to independent journalists. It revealed the truth behind the Mirror Project. It was never designed to rehabilitate trauma survivors. It was a DARPA-backed program to weaponize psychological trauma by forcing identity fractures through repeated emotional triggers, rebuilding the fractured person into controlled avatars, using survivors as data vectors for mass behavioral disruption. The core test subject, Emily Vargas. They thought they erased her rage. They were wrong. Chapter 45. The tapes they hid. 6 new SD cards surfaced, mailed to journalists, bloggers, and influencers. Each began with Emily's voice. They tried to build a ghost. But ghosts remember. And I remembered everything they did to us. In the final video, Emily walks down a hallway of mirrors. Each mirror shows a different version of her. The victim, the killer, the forgotten, the activist, the one still chained. She turns to the camera. You made us into stories. Now we're writing our own ending. And this time, you are the subject. Chapter 46. Global triggering. Over the next 48 hours, 61 people admitted themselves to psychiatric hospitals reporting mirror hallucinations. 9 suicides occurred, each with notes referencing Emily's voice. Major news outlets began issuing digital content warnings for anything involving mirrors, reflections, or trauma confessions. The term mirror syndrome trended globally on TikTok and X. The UN issued a psychological emergency bulletin. This is not a cyber attack. This is a mimetic infection, weaponized narrative trauma. Chapter 47. The Woman on the Rooftop. In Los Angeles, a woman climbed a rooftop at 3:03 a.m. She wore all white, held a cracked mirror, and spoke into a live stream. We were always watching. We waited. And now we see everything clearly. Then she jumped. But her body was never found. Instead, a final message was spray-painted on the roof. You made monsters out of silence. We gave them voices. Chapter 48. The final video drop. 3 days later, on July 20, 2025, the final SD card surfaced, hidden behind the mirror in Detective Merrill Ford's old home. It auto-uploaded to dark web servers and one unlisted YouTube link titled, The Last Broadcast. Emily's final statement. The video showed Emily standing in front of a wall of reflections. If you're watching this, then you've survived the first wave. She continues. They said I was unstable, that I was broken, that I wasn't real. But you watched. You filmed. You scrolled. You shared. You made me viral. You gave me power. She leans closer. Now I give you a choice. Break your mirror, or become it. The screen goes black. Then one final whisper. I am every story you ignored. And now, I live inside the silence you left behind. Epilogue. The reflection won't die. To this day, no one knows where Emily is. But the mirror events haven't stopped. New reports arrive every 3:03 a.m. More disappearances. More red mirrors. And one haunting pattern. Wherever they appear, someone always whispers. She walked into the police station covered in blood. But she said she was the victim.